Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing fine. In this video, we'll be talking about as to how you can calculate the overall return of your portfolio, especially if you have investments in different areas or if you have investments in different asset classes. So let's say your portfolio has investment in 4 different areas: equity shares, debt mutual funds, gold ETFs, and equity mutual funds. Now, each of this category would have a different kind of return, and your objective would be to arrive at one single number which would represent the overall return of your portfolio. Now, you can simply take the respective return of each category and calculate the average, which you can call the overall return of your portfolio. But then that would not be the right approach. Now, the method which you should deploy in order to calculate the overall return is called the weighted average method. So let's head over to Excel to show you how that works. So here, as you can see, we have investment in these 4 different avenues: equity shares, debt mutual funds, gold ETFs, and equity mutual funds. And these are the respective amounts invested in these areas, and these are the returns which these investments are giving. Now, in order to calculate a single return which would represent this entire portfolio, first we need to calculate the weights. So by weights, I mean how much does equity shares represent out in the total portfolio. So equity share has an investment of 20,000 out of the total amount of 50,000. So here, if you need to calculate the weight of equity share in the total portfolio, that would be 20,000 divided by 50,000, which comes to 40%. Similarly, we need to calculate the weights of the other areas. So you can just drag the formula. That's where it comes to. So debt mutual fund has a representation of 10%, gold 30%, and equity mutual fund 20%. Now, in order to calculate the weighted average return, we need to multiply the respective return of each investment category with their weight. Just do the same with the other areas as well, and you calculate the sum, which comes to 12.2%. This amount represents the weighted average return of your portfolio. Now, the logic behind calculating the return this way is, if equity share is giving you a return of 15% and in the overall portfolio it has a representation of only 40%, you cannot consider this 15% when you're calculating the overall return of your portfolio. You need to take into account the weight equity share represents in the overall portfolio size. And that is the reason first we are calculating the weights and then we are multiplying the return with this weight here. Now, if I want to just calculate the overall return of the portfolio by taking the average of the individual returns, that would come to around 11.5%. So you can see there's a slight difference between this amount and the weighted average return. Now, why there is a difference, why this amount is higher? It's because equity shares is giving you the highest return among these 4 categories, and it has the maximum representation also in the overall portfolio size. And that's the role the weights play when you're calculating the overall return. Now, one more thing which I would like to highlight is when you're taking the individual returns, for example, here I've taken 15%. Now you can use the same method to calculate the individual return as well. So for example, within equity shares, if you have investment in these 4 companies and you have these investment amounts, and this is the average annual return which these shares are giving you, you can use the same method to calculate the weights of these individual stocks. So let me just drag that down here, and then you multiply the individual return by their respective weights, and then you drag the same here. So this is your weighted average return just for equity shares, and then you can link that with this amount, and yeah, so that's how you're coming at this amount. So if you have investment in different debt mutual funds, you can use the same concept to arrive at one single amount here, and then again you can use the same concept to arrive at these individual returns. So that's how you calculate the overall return of your portfolio using the weighted average method. To unravel the magic of compounding, you can click here, and to know why you should invest in gold, you should click here. That was it for this video. This is Arindam, and until the next one, take care, see you, and bye bye.